All righty. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the future of the water and wastewater industry and the careers you didn't know about. And I'm your host, Dave Kosminski, and this is going to be take number 2. And you're not going to hear take number 1. That was so good, too, Aaron.
We were just rolling.
Yeah, exactly.
We were at the 24-minute mark.
Yeah. And with us in the studio is Mr. Aaron Schwartz, who is the proprietor and owner of Water and Sewer Specialties right here in the hometown of Portland. So, hi, Aaron. Come on down.
Hey, Mr. Dave. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing well. Thanks so much for coming down. I appreciate it.
Thank you for asking.
Oh, man.
I'm really looking forward to this.
Well, you know,
right?
the whole premise of me launching this podcast is to let people know, mostly younger people, that there are careers in the water industry that you never thought of.
Sure.
You know, and I think you've got a very storied career. You and I first crossed paths way back in the day, and you used to work for the Caldwell Company,
correct,
over in Southington.
Yes, sir.
So tell us, going back to the beginning, how did you get in the water industry? How did you get into the water supply business?
Right. So selling was just, I think it was in my blood.
Oh, absolutely.
We're all salespeople at some point.
Sure.
And so when I was a kid, whatever I do, I want to sell. I want to sell something. I like the interaction with people, the back and forth, the give and take, and personalities.
Sure.
You're afforded a great opportunity to understand people when you're actually selling something. So I'm in high school.
Yeah.
And this is actually, I think everybody's got, a story to tell. We all do. A kid that I grew up with, his father was in this business.
Uh-huh.
So just by happenstance, if I don't know him, I never meet his dad. If I don't meet his dad,
you never got where you
I never get the job to sell pipe. My very first job.
Wow.
Which was in 1985.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So this is, again, a friend of mine that I grew up with. His father was in the pipe business. It all kind of flowed from there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And your first gig was with Caldwell.
It was actually with the Jack Farley Company.
Oh, Jack. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
Which is still in business today.
Yes.
Formidable competitor.
Yeah.
We like to say we're a friendly competitor because we're smaller, family owned.
Yeah.
And we try to get along with everybody. I think everyone does in this industry. We all seem to have each other's back at some point. Whether we're trying to knock each other off the board, selling against each other, but
Sure.
at the same time also trying to support, because that basis helps everybody stay stronger.
It's a small community.
Yeah.
It's a small community,
Right.
and you'd be surprised, how you can connect the dots from one way or the other. Because I can go back through the years, and like I said, I've been with the town coming up on 50 years, and I can remember salesmen, that came in,
Sure.
Years ago that were once with this company or now with that company, and vice versa,
Right.
and so forth. And it's like it's a smaller community.
Yeah, it does transcend industries. I'm thinking of friends of mine or people that are maybe part of our industry, but not necessarily like in the pipe selling world,
Sure.
in the fittings and accessories that go with that engineering world. That happens.
Sure.
People crossing lines, going back and forth. It's all part of business.
Absolutely.
But from my standpoint, being now with one company for over 30 years,
Yes.
I've kind of seen that from the sidelines.
Yeah.
And it's no less or more today than it was back then.
Yeah.
But it is interesting to see people's arc and how, I did it. I started with one company, went to Caldwell, for that matter, to the same extent that, if I don't know this kid I grew up with and his family and his father especially, who got me my first interview, by the same token, if I don't become self-employed, I'm not sure where I would have gone. I made the jump because Caldwell sadly went out of business. It just didn't work out for them. If that doesn't happen, I could be maybe in the same industry. It's been very supportive. As you know, it's a great industry. It's
yes.
It touches obviously so many important points: water, sewer,
exactly.
obviously necessities, utility business. But if that doesn't happen with Caldwell, maybe my arc never changes, and I'm still working within the industry, just not for myself. So it is strange, like you say, the connecting up the dots.
Yes. So, and the thing is with the water industry, and this is what I've been stressing on all our podcasts, is that the water industry and the wastewater industry isn't an industry that you can really outsource. Okay,
right.
you need boots on the ground.
Sure.
Okay,
right.
you gotta fix the leaks. You gotta install the services and so forth.
Yeah.
And so forth. But that's all part of it. It's not something you can outsource offshore. And by getting into that business, there's a whole host of supporting occupations within that umbrella.
Right.
You've got the engineers, you've got the salespeople, you've got the construction people, you've got cross connections, you've got accountants, you've got HR people. And it's the whole thing. And especially, I'm sure you deal with a lot of smaller water companies. Okay. Sure. Like Portland, that don't have the resources that maybe a Connecticut Water or Aquarion or MDC is. They have. Everybody has their own niche up there, specialties. Okay, I'm HR, or I'm engineering, or I'm this. When you're in a smaller utility like Portland or East Hampton or Hebron or whatever, you got everybody has to do everything.
Sure.
Which is a good thing, because then you kind of learn all aspects of the industry and how it works and how
absolutely.
All the pieces go together.
In the dynamic of our little world. Right here under the bridge.
Sure.
We're small, family owned. My wife and I started it. Michelle and I started it in 1990.
Yep.
Now, today, Alexa, our youngest daughter.
I know. She's in the office there.
Sure. Yeah. Her fiance, Anthony, they work side by side.
There you
go.
So
in that dynamic, because our size being small, and to your point, you have people, sometimes crossing lines, especially like for the town of Portland, and then to our company, where we all of us have to change hats a lot more than, say, in the dynamic of a much larger utility that has separate departments.
Yep.
And that is a strength for us because we kind of touch and feel all points of the circle, each of us.
Well, and exactly, and by the same token, you develop a knowledge of the industry and the supplies and the valves and the pipe and everything that goes along with it.
Sure.
And that knowledge base is so supportive. Because when somebody in a smaller utility, hey, what should I use for this situation? This clamp or that clamp? You know where it is,
right?
And you know which one's going to work best for them. And best of all, you can get it for them.
Right. We try.
As far as that goes.
Yeah.
Now, have you noticed? Obviously, COVID has changed things dynamically. Throughout every industry across the board. How has COVID affected you guys? Obviously, you came to work every day. I mean, you're one of those essential businesses. So how did that affect you guys?
So to your point, to probably no lesser or more degree than any other industry, but just from our perspective, and even talking to people outside our industry, friends of mine that are also in sales, the supply chain is really what has been the fly in the ointment.
Sure, the Achilles heel.
Yeah, since this thing started. We're coming close on 3 years, and I talk to our suppliers, factories, sources for all our materials, and they really don't see relief coming in 23 just yet. Yeah, wow. The lead times got a little bit better in this past summer.
Yep.
But it was almost immediate. As soon as they started, it never got down to single weeks.
Right.
It was always in double digits.
Yeah.
But it was pretty typical, no matter what the product, whether it was a widget, a wadget, a valve.
Yeah.
It was pretty much universal, 20 to 28 weeks.
Really?
It was a little spell where it got down into the 15 to 16 week.
Yeah.
And now it's, in many cases, it's actually worse.
Yeah.
And what it's caused to do from an operations management standpoint is we really have to be aware of stock levels.
Sure.
And then in touch with our customers and what their needs and what we need to do to produce and deliver for the customers that call on us. So staying in very close touch with the people that we count on to call us.
Yep.
And then with our all our suppliers and factories that we deal with is so much more important. I'm doing this close to 40 years now in this industry. And so we've developed a lot of great relationships, not only with our suppliers, but with our customers too.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, and so the transcending from myself, who's pretty much handled just about, or overseen at least anyway,
every aspect.
Of what goes on in the company. And we have a great group of people that work with us too, so I obviously count on them. But that has really served us well, the relationships we built, and that's where now Alexa and Anthony are coming in to continue that. But our strength is our size, really, because we're small. We can kind of bob and weave a little bit. And so our smaller group of end users that count on us, then certainly a lot of our competitors being, multi-point, they have, larger inventories, more outlets that they sell from. But because we're smaller, we do have a small group of end users that really, really count on us every day. And thankfully, the relationships that we've built with them is really the foundation.
Well, just like with your daughter and future son-in-law, as far as that goes, I mean, kudos to you for, looking ahead to that succession planning, because that is so important, not only in your industry, but, throughout. I mean,
in any mom and pop, which is really what we are.
Exactly.
But that goes to any size company.
Sure.
How big they are. They have to have some kind of a succession plan, especially in today's business environment, because the computer, the cell phone has, forget the COVID side of things, that's so profoundly changed. And, and we've both been through that arc where when we started and, with a typewriter and no computer and
beepers.
Dum.
There you go.
Right. Yeah.
There's an old musician's joke. That the height of optimism is basically a trombone player with a beeper.
I'm not a trombone guy. I've never heard that, but it works.
Whatever. And that's the thing. And every industry, and the water industry is especially, experience an acute. Basically a brain drain because, most of us guys have been in the industry, 30, 40 plus years. And, historically speaking, looking at all of the, certified operators in the state. My second podcast that I did was with Bill Sullivan from the State Health Department, who's basically in charge of the operator certification. And, the statistics are staggering. I mean, basically looking, when we did it, we're into probably episode 40 now, as far as that goes. And when he came on, basically 50% of the certified operators in the state are eligible to retire or are going to be retiring. Mm-hmm. So there's got to be, some type of backfilling of the pipeline, so to speak, because when that knowledge base walks out the door,
right.
And the same in your system, as far as that goes, anybody can, sell pipe, but the knowledge that goes behind it to, recommend this will work, that won't work. Okay. That's hugely, hugely valuable,
mm-hmm.
As far as.
But that's kind of what you've been doing,
well,
for how long?
Yeah.
Between your tech program at the high school.
Sure.
Which transcends to what you're doing here.
Well,
to bring that level of interest and note how important it really is. That's a great point you're making.
And the thing is that, so many kids, that are in, their waning years in high school have no clue what they're going to do.
Right.
And, not every kid getting out of high school.
I didn't.
Exactly. Yeah. And not every student coming out of high school is meant to go to college, or should they go to college?
Right.
Mm-hmm. I mean, so many kids are, I don't want to say brainwashed, but it's basically, indoctrinated into them. You got to go to college, and college is great. There's nothing against that, but by the same token, everybody's not made to fit that mold.
Right.
And a lot of kids are going to college and coming out of with degrees that I don't want to say they're useless, but they're not as marketable as some
right.
things. And the sad part is they're coming out with $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 in student loans
right.
hanging over their head.
Yeah.
And wow.
Yeah. So I went to college.
Yeah.
Did I really need to? I studied business economics.
Yeah.
Did I really need to? No. But back to my friend that I grew up with.
Yeah.
when I went to his dad my senior year in high school.
Yeah.
And he was a pipe salesman.
Yeah,
and
there you go.
Hey, any jobs for me? You know what? You need to go to college. Now, this was back in 1980.
Yeah, yeah.
Had he said to me, you know what? Let me talk to some people in the industry.
Yeah.
Now, again, I'm only 18 or 19 years old, so I'm not going to go out on the road at that point.
Yeah, yeah.
But maybe I could have had a position working in a warehouse or
counter sales or
yeah,
whatever.
exactly. Yeah. But did I need to go to college? No. It was a great experience.
Yeah.
I'm a big endorser of the butterfly effect.
Yeah,
You know, the butterfly flaps its wings in the Philippines, and there's a storm on the other side of the planet. To that same degree, if I don't go to college, obviously everything changes.
Sure.
I don't meet Michelle. I don't get married to her.
Exactly.
Yeah, I probably don't move to Portland.
Yep.
No Alexa, no Anthony.
Exactly.
Everything else changes.
Sure.
Yeah. So that's a great point you're making. Not everybody is
and
made to go to college. If they do, great. My whole situation, my whole future would have changed had I not.
Yep.
But that's that doesn't necessarily speak to the industry that I'm going to go into, whether I go to college or not either. Right?
Yeah, and not that the water and wastewater industry don't need college graduates. There's always room in that umbrella, for engineers and all accountants and so forth, and business managers and so forth. But operators basically can get a certification from the state and make a damn good living.
Right.
As far as that goes, both on the water and wastewater side, it's something that I've been promoting to all of the high school, the guidance counselors. I was just picked up with this podcast by AWWA. We went national, which is really, really cool.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah. But it's a need that's in the industry.
Right.
And, last year I was able to speak at the National Governors Conference out in Minnesota on workforce succession. And, everybody is experiencing that same dilemma,
right.
with the staggering retirement statistics, and the industry is aging along with its workforce,
right.
and we got to be able to again meet the demand and at least make people aware,
right?
And like I say, everybody is not made to do. Maybe a wastewater operator or a treatment plant operator, but maybe somebody wants to do construction, or maybe somebody wants to do, a meter reading technician, or a clerk in our a billing office.
Right.
It's all jobs that have to be done.
Sure.
As far as that goes.
So you had asked about how has COVID affected?
Yep.
And my answer was pretty, as I've been talking about for years, anybody that's in the supply business,
sure,
is that there's issues with the supply stream.
Yep.
But then too, it has created a situation where we have a lot of people that weren't working remote,
yep,
are now.
Yep.
A lot of people in that group who now work remote, who haven't gone back to going
office.
to an office.
Sure.
So how does that affect the part of the circle that you're talking about, which is we got a group of people in all industries,
yep,
ours, many others, that are aging.
Yep.
They're getting to a point where they're going to retire, and who's going to replace them?
Yep.
Behind that is a lot of people working remotely.
Yeah.
Who aren't like physically together.
Yeah.
Which that over time, that's a short-term solution to COVID.
Yeah.
We got to keep commerce going.
Yeah.
We got to keep business going.
Yeah.
But in the long run,
sure,
that's going to have a profound effect down the road.
Yeah.
With exactly to your point, we need to keep people coming in. How do we train? How do we furnish new blood?
Exactly.
To take over,
yeah,
to sustain. And when you've got people sitting at home, I just don't know if their mental drive is, hey, I can do this at home. I don't need to do this. And you've got kids behind them,
yep,
seeing moms, dads, people who are trying to support them, whether it's teachers, staff,
yep,
someone who's going to be a mentor.
Yep.
Our kids are being exposed to the concept that
sure,
they don't need to physically be in a place to,
exactly
do what we're doing right here, and that's not a good thing down the road.
No.
So we got to get to that place.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And conversely,
so I commend you, by the way, for what you've tried to do through your whole career.
Well, yeah, it's the type of thing that I've been doing it a while, as well as you have,
right.
And you see things ebb and you see things flow, and The old saying, what goes around comes around.
Right,
okay.
yeah.
Unfortunately, a lot of the corporations are now rethinking, okay, that, a lot of high priced office space that, they're leasing in cities and in buildings, they're rethinking. They're saying, well, geez, do I need to spend that money where I can have people working from home? So it's a double-edged sword.
Sure.
It really is.
Yeah.
To go from there. But yeah, I think from that standpoint, going back to, younger students, if you had to give a younger student, advice, what would you say?
They should find a mentor.
Okay.
Absolutely. This kid that I grew up with, his dad,
Yep.
he mentored me.
Yep.
From the time I met him when I was about 14.
Yeah.
And he was like a second dad.
Okay.
And at the time, I don't even know if I knew what the word mentor was. Mm-hmm. I just knew that I had a lot of respect for this guy.
Right.
Not only from a business standpoint, but just, because his fathering skills, how he treated people, always with respect.
Yeah.
And I just gravitated to him. And it is that stone that needs to be turned over.
Sure.
I think kids, not just today, any generation,
Sure.
go back 100 years,
Yep.
they really need to source someone besides just the people in the four walls, their mom, their dad, whoever their guardian is, that to go outside the circle and be exposed to a different way of thinking from someone who has a walk of life within their community, whether it's a teacher or whatever. So I looked upon this person as a mentor.
Yep.
And he guided me, and you need to go to college.
Sure.
I went to college for 4 years. I got out. His was the first door I knocked on.
There you go.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and the rest is history.
Yeah, Mr. H,
There you go.
who wants to hire me? And
Well,
and he supported.
And that's one of the things that I stress with all my students. Okay, don't underestimate the power of networking, because you never know when you shake somebody's hand and introduce you to that they know you, you know them, because you never know that, hey, I need this. Oh, hey, I remember this guy. Call him up, and vice versa.
Sure.
So networking is so very important, and obviously you've been involved in this business, and one of the most valuable things in this business. So you do the trade shows, you do the Ad Cave, you do the New England Waterworks shows. Okay, that's all networking. That's getting out there, getting you in front of putting a face to the name, and shaking somebody's hand and looking at them in the eye and say, hey, this is what I can do. These are the products that we have. And speaking of the products, give us a flash mob of some of the stuff that your wares that you sell.
Right. So it's we are Water and Sewer Specialties. There's a reason why water is first in the name. We're really my history with the companies that I used to work for was they were stronger in the water field at that time. Mm-hmm. So that was kind of where I cut my teeth. So when we started Water and Sewer Specialties, I think we put the sewer in there, just, hey, we can do that too.
Sure.
But it is predominantly water. We really don't sell pipe. Mm-hmm. We're not a full-line distributor. We kind of more cherry pick a lot of the specialty items. So a lot of the tools in our industry, whether they're tracing equipment for leaks, metal detectors for locating sewer manholes, water covers.
Sure.
We rep for several companies that specialize in those items.
Yeah, obviously.
Water service line material.
Yep. Curb boxes,
exactly. Corporations,
brasses,
curb stop,
all the brass goods.
Yeah. Which is that's been presented a huge challenge.
Sure.
You go back to Flint, Michigan, which is before the pandemic hit.
Yeah.
But just that and the legislation that is resulting still from that.
Sure.
So many towns. The federal government putting out so much money to be able to help communities to remove the lead.
Mitigate that,
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what does that do? It's causing an uptick before COVID in a lot of distributors coast to coast.
Yeah.
We need to stock up on this brass. So we did the same.
Yeah.
Even though Flint's a long way, obviously that's going to touch all of us.
Effect.
Yeah, it already is.
Yeah.
Now you added in the COVID, And so what we did was we tried to really stock up on a lot of the everyday stuff, which is the clamps, the couplings, and obviously the repair products don't have so much to do with removing lead from all of our drinking water supply. But when they're out there and they're digging, they break things. So we've really tried to those day-to-day items that aren't necessarily associated with, okay, we're going to put this water main in and it's 6 miles of main.
Yeah.
That's not us.
Yeah.
We come behind with a lot of the smaller goods.
Backfill stuff.
Yeah.
Well, when you get a water main break at 3 a.m. and Aaron gets a call, hey, I need an 8-inch clamp, and so forth. You got to have it.
Sure.
As far as that goes.
Exactly. Yeah.
Fantastic. So, Aaron. All right. Aaron, thank you so much for coming down.
Sure,
I appreciate it. Mr. Aaron Schwartz is in the house.
Thank you so much.
And from Water and Sewer Specialties, right here in downtown Portland. And again, thanks, Aaron, for taking time out of your schedule.
Thanks, buddy.
And coming down. Yes, thank you. And again, ladies and gentlemen, that's this episode of the Future of the Water and Wastewater Industry and the Careers You Didn't Know About. I'm your host, Dave Kosminski, and Mr. Aaron Schwartz from Water and Sewer Specialties was in the house tonight. So thanks, Aaron, and stay tuned for our next episode. And if you'd like to be on this podcast, hit me up. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.